Welcome. I'm Jessica Lonnie Rich, host of Inspire You and Me. It's an inspirational show where we talk to people who are making a difference. On this episode, we have a person who is a living example of dealing with adversities in a positive way, cancer survivor Bryan Feleciano, and entertainer extraordinaire who gives back to the community and cares about animals, Ginny Tiu. And be sure to stay tuned for the Animal Lovers clip. We'll have all that and more, and we'll be back right after this.
5914-777. Shoot-a-doo-wah. Who's got the best deals in Vegas around? Who's got the good job? Shoot-a-doo. Call 5914-777 today. Vacations Hawaii. Vacations Hawaii. Vacations Hawaii. Good luck, we go play. 5914-777 today. Good luck, we go play.
Almost everyone knows one person, or maybe even two, who has cancer or who has had cancer. Our very special guest today is a man who I really admire. He's a wonderful human being, and he's also a survivor of cancer. Please welcome our very special guest, Bryan Feleciano. Hey, Bryan.
Hi, Jessica. It's good to see you again.
It's always good to see you, and your smiling face and just everything about you that I really admire. Almost everyone has been touched by cancer in one way or another, whether it be someone you know or someone in your family that's been affected by it. But you were told several years ago that you had cancer. What was it like? Walk us through the process.
It's been 8 years now that I've been a survivor. I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, which means it is terminal, but it's been 8 years and I'm still here.
Yes, you are.
And I think one of the things that I've learned is that it's important for us to normalize it, in the sense that having cancer is not your fault. And being able to talk to somebody about it is important. And I think in my last interview with you, as I've said, one of the most important things is also acceptance. Because accepting the fact that you are sick, that you have this disease, allows you to deal with that problem. And once you're allowed to deal with that problem, you get to see solutions which you may not see when you're so delved into the problem or the fact that you are sick. Once you've accepted that fact, then it's easier to search for solutions, for planning the future, rather than being embroiled into the negativity of it.
Now, you mentioned that 8 years ago you were diagnosed with cancer. May I ask what type?
It's colon cancer.
Colon cancer. And you were stage 4 8 years ago, but you've survived 8 years. And for those people who are watching right now, Bryan, what did it feel like the moment the doctor said to you, Bryan, you have cancer?
I remember that day pretty clearly. I went into the doctor's office and I was just sitting down. And my doctor, who I absolutely love, the first thing that he told me is that you have cancer and it's spread. He didn't come in and say, oh, hi, how are you doing? He just gave it straight out to me.
Wow, he didn't build you up?
There was no introduction
or
anything. He just went in and he told me straight out. And, for some people, they might not appreciate that or might regard us as not having good bedside manner. But for me, I appreciated that.
He cut right to the chase.
He cut right to the chase and he told me straight out. How I felt that time, of course, I was shocked. I was sitting down and I literally told him that I need to lie down on the bed. And, he gave me a few minutes and then we had to deal with it and say what our plan is going to be.
So how did that change your life? You said that right now that you started planning what your next steps were going to be. And of course you have a son, Ethan, and a beautiful wife, But at that moment, everything changed.
At that moment, we actually did not have Ethan yet. So that was 8 years ago.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
And so we've always wanted a kid. We've always wanted a child. And so having the diagnosis of cancer brought up so many questions, like, what are we going to do? I mean, are we still going to try for a kid? If we have a child, we have to accept the fact that the child is probably going to outlive me. I probably won't live to see his prom or his graduation. But my wife and I spoke about it, and she was adamant about it. When the time comes and, if I'm not here anymore, there is something that's a part of me that's going to be with my wife. And so she didn't have to tell me that. I eventually realized it.
Yeah.
That there's going to be a connection to me.
What sort of advice can you give to someone who just got word that they got cancer?
The answer to that would be purpose. Rather than living day to day, for me, it's finding out it doesn't matter how long I have left. It's a matter of finding my purpose in life. My purpose currently is to protect my family, to make sure that when the time comes and I'm not here, they have the tools to be able to take care of themselves. I have no doubt about the ability of my wife to take care of Ethan. And I have no doubt that Ethan's going to grow up to be a good man. But before that happens, before I am unavailable to them, I have to be able to make sure that I protect them in the sense that the road is going to be clear for them to be able to move forward. The hardships are just a stepping stone to finding your purpose in life. Once you find your purpose, it doesn't matter what hardships you go through, because those hardships are put there to help you achieve your purpose.
You brought up hardships, the hardship of having cancer. And you, in addition to that, the last 3 years, you had another hardship. Your wife, Sarah, was threatened that she may have to leave the country to go back to Taiwan and never return to the United States again. How did you handle that on top of dealing with the medical challenges that you and your family were dealing with?
It made me realize that what I said a while ago, my purpose in life is to protect my family. Finding out about that was really hard, and I think it was even more so difficult because we did not have the resources to ask for help from lawyers just because of the cost associated with it.
Sure.
And that's why I had to learn everything by myself. And there were times when after my treatment for cancer, I would have to stay up until 2, 3 a.m. just doing research on those things and trying to write the briefs to submit to court and everything. Even if I failed at the very end, I'm not just going to lie down and take it. I'm going to fight.
And the outcome of that was?
We won the case.
Yes, and congratulations. Where are you at now in your life after everything you've been through the last 8 years and the last 3 years?
After where I've been through the last 8 and 3 years, I'm thinking of going to law school.
Yay! Oh my God!
I don't know if it's too late for me.
It's never too late.
I do not know if it's too late for me, but everybody has been pushing me and saying that if it's everybody's been telling me that this is an achievement that sometimes real lawyers do not achieve.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, we'll see.
Bryan, in closing, the name of our show is Inspire You and Me. Bryan Feleciano, what inspires you?
My family inspires me, as everybody should have their family inspire them. Our families are why we're here. The way we treat our family is the very essence and the very demonstration of how we treat them is our demonstration of our love to them. Everything just flows through that. everybody would be surprised at what they can achieve by just searching as to how important their family is to them. You'd be surprised as I was.
Wow. Well, you are certainly the foundation of your family. I've met a lot of your family members from all around the world at Ethan's one-year-old birthday party. And Bryan Feleciano, I want to thank you so much for your message about the importance of family and finding your purpose in life. And I want to wish you and Sarah and Ethan the very best. And I also want to be there when you graduate from law school. Thank you so much for being a guest on Inspire You and Me.
Thank you for having me.
The law firm of Cronin Freed is proud to sponsor Inspire You and Me, a show about people in our community who are making a difference. I'm Rick Freed, and our law firm of 16 attorneys handles major injury cases, choosing to devote our considerable talent and staff to those injured people and victims for whom we can make a great difference. We hope that you will be inspired to follow your dreams and find your purpose.
At Doctors of Waikiki, we're passionate about providing expert urgent care to Hawaii's residents and visitors.
We offer a smart and convenient alternative to your local ER. Our average wait time is less than 15 minutes.
Open 7 days a week with an in-house x-ray, pharmacy dispensary, and extensive laboratory capabilities, plus free Waikiki transportation and a multilingual staff.
So, be treated, not seated.
Call Doctors of Waikiki today.
We are very excited to have as a special guest on Inspire You and Me, please welcome entertainer Ginny Tiu. Welcome, Ginny.
Thank you, Jessica. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. You have led a life of inspiration. As an entertainer, your job is to go out and basically make people happy and brighten their lives. Let's start at the beginning. You started entertaining at the age of 3.5.
Correct. But before that, Jessica, I would like to thank you for having this show. You know, I watch it and I am inspired. I love learning more about the community and the people that we have, the wonderful people that we have doing great things for the community. So I want to thank you for doing that, Jessica.
Oh, thank you, Ginny. 3.5 years old, an entertainer?
Yes, well, actually, I was 3.5 when I showed an interest in playing the piano because my father, he was a businessman. He was not a professional musician, but he loved music and especially the piano. So he played the piano as a hobby. I was fascinated. At 3.5, I just was fascinated to hear this beautiful sound coming out of this, I thought, you know, piece of furniture, really, right? So, but he always kept it under lock and key because at that time there were 6 children already. Actually 7, excuse me, 6 siblings. He didn't want me playing, you know, or anybody else really banging on his beautiful piano. And so he always had it locked. And one day he went out, forgot to lock it, went to a meeting, and my mother heard me playing. So I got to the piano because I really wanted to play. And what she heard was, she told him, you know, that it wasn't just noise. I was genuinely trying to duplicate what I heard him playing. So I was trying to find the notes. It wasn't for me, it wasn't just about, oh, this is fun, make a lot of noise.
Yeah,
you know, I was fascinated, even at that young age. So when he came home, she told him, she said, I think you need to listen to her because it's different. You know, and so he showed me, and everything he showed me, of course, very small, simple, because I'm 3.5, my hands are about this small, you know. So he had to make the notes easier for me to play. But everything he played, I would come right back and play it. And so he thought, wow, you know, I can do something here and teach me, and that's how it all started. So when I was 5, I was discovered by Ed Sullivan.
Yes, you were on the Ed Sullivan Show. Oh my goodness. And at that time, if you're on the Ed Sullivan Show, it's like, that is big time. How did that whole thing come about where you were discovered?
Well, that's how actually we moved to this country, Jessica. I'm glad you asked because we were living in the Philippines at the time and no intention to move to America. But actually, an American friend of ours heard me playing, made a tape of my playing, and sent it to a friend of his in Chicago who had a daily radio show at the time, Don McNeil. And he said he wanted me to be on his show. And so he made arrangements for my parents and myself. And my parents thought it was my dad thought it was a great opportunity, never been to this country. And we were just going to come for like a couple of weeks, that's all, to be on his show a few times and go back home. There were still all the 6 children at home, right? But then Ed Sullivan heard about me, and it was in the papers, child prodigy comes to America and all that stuff, right? So, of course, Ed Sullivan, he always likes to be the first, and so he had me on his show, and as you said, that was it, we just never went home after 1 year.
Really?
Because everybody, from Perry Como, The Tonight Show, Danny Thomas, all the different shows came, as well as personal performances. And so after 1 year, my mother was so homesick for the other 6 children. You can imagine that we're home with my grandmother and my auntie. And so my dad said, I don't think we're going to go back home too soon. And after 1 year, brought them over to this country. And so that's how it started.
What an amazing story. And actually, as a result of that, a lot of people know that you were with Elvis Presley, Girls, Girls, Girls. Do you know how many women throughout this country loved Elvis Presley and would do anything to get near Elvis Presley? And what was that like, Ginny?
He was so kind, so sweet, so generous, thoughtful, caring. He was just a very soft-spoken, polite gentleman. And by that time, I was 8 years old when I did the movie Girls, Girls, Girls. Colonel Parker approached my dad because then my dad became my manager and said, I have this role and would like Ginny to be in this movie with Elvis. And I was thrilled. I knew kind of, but I was 8 years old, so I don't think I was excited as I would have been if I were 18 years old, probably, right?
If you're 18, it's like,
the world stops, your heart stops, right? But I was like, I knew Elvis, who Elvis was, of course, and heard about him, and just looked forward to meeting him and working with him.
You met a lot of other celebrities along the way, even President Kennedy. You performed at the White House.
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, it was a great honor, but Jessica, at 8 or 9 years old at the time, Colonel Parker had asked my dad about having me do another movie with Elvis. And this one it happened at the World's Fair. The first one was Girls, Girls, Girls. And this one was actually I was going to have a very big part in it. It was going to take about 2 to 3 months to film at the Seattle World's Fair. And so I was absolutely thrilled. And when I heard my dad tell Colonel Parker, oh, I'm sorry, thank you very much, but Ginny can't do this movie with Elvis because she is slated for many concerts, performances, but especially I'm not going to pull her out of playing for President Kennedy. And, at 8 years old, I was so disappointed. I didn't really understand, of course, right, how meaningful, how valuable that was of an experience. Of course, now I'm so grateful that I got to do both. I did the movie with Elvis and then played for President Kennedy, but I remember being very disappointed that time because I knew how wonderful Elvis was. Not just because he was Elvis. Right. If he wasn't nice, I wouldn't have wanted to do another movie with him.
Sure.
But he was so sweet and so kind. But Vicky, actually my sister Vicky, my dad sent Vicky to do the movie with Elvis, and she did a fantastic job. She was 6 years old and did a great job.
Oh, that's fantastic. Fast forward to the present. You are very involved in charity work and the Hawaiian Humane Society. You love dogs. Now, how many dogs do you have?
I have 10, all adopted from the Hawaiian Humane Society.
Wow.
And then I still foster as well. And I always try to ask our chief vet, Dr. Carter, and our CEO, Anna Neubauer, for those that are harder to get placed. They're either older or they have health challenges. I just want them to know love for whatever time they have. I want them to be hugged and kissed and loved for whatever time they have. And then I'll cry afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, that is wonderful. Jenny, you must have had some adversity or some mental challenges. It could not have been easy for you as a young child to go out and perform in front of so many people and audiences. What was that like for you?
Well, you know, Jessica, I started young, of course, at 3.5, and my people who see me play now, they often say, wow, it looks effortless. You know, watching you play, do you even have to try or work because you don't really look at the note? I don't read music. It is a gift from God. I play by ear. But still, I do have to practice, you know, to get the runs and all that. And I do my own arrangements, and so I do have to do all of that as well. But my dad always says, you know, reminded me that people don't realize he was very strict. And he had me practicing 4 hours a day at 4 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And for me, I'm very grateful that I was able to have this opportunity, and nothing comes easy, really. You know, I think there's always the consequences for your choices that you make, good or bad. And I'm very thankful, really, that I don't think I enjoyed it at the time. I wanted to play, I always wanted to play, but I don't think I wanted to practice 4 hours a day. But now I'm grateful that I did, because, you know, I was able to do what I do, and I enjoy it.
Is there anything else about your life which is so amazing and so inspirational that you'd like to share with us that we haven't already talked about?
For me, it's just so important. I really try and get others to understand, you know, the need for us to help each other, and that we're responsible for the good of the state, the country, the world, really, you know, in what we do and how we think and how we treat each other. And for me, that definitely includes the animals. You know, I really agree with what Mahatma Gandhi said, that the greatness of a nation, you can tell by the way it treats its animals. And I believe that, you know, these animals give us so much, and they're so vulnerable, and they depend on us. And I also feel very strongly about music. I'm also on the board of our symphony.
Yes.
And as you know, music has been and still continues to be such a big part of my life. Animals and music bring out the best in us. It unites us.
Absolutely. In closing, Jenny, the name of our show is Inspire You and Me. What inspires you?
People who do the right thing, not just for themselves, but for others, and our young people, really inspires me. You know, we have a junior council, a teen council, and a junior development council at the Humane Society, and I am always inspired by them, because they, you know, they're creative, but they have the heart to want to do things for the community, not just for themselves. And they are future leaders. So we really need to support them and mentor them, but they teach us a lot. I can tell you that, Jessica, you know, and I'm so happy and grateful that they're our future when I see them, that they want to do so much for them. And they're going to be happier people too. When you focus on others, helping others, you will definitely be a happier person too.
Jenny, thank you so much for being a guest on Inspire You and Me. You are certainly one of the most inspiring people, not just in our community, but also in the world, in your travels, in the people you touch by your music. And it's been our honor to have you as our guest today.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you very much for what you're doing too.
Battery Bill, providing power when and where you need it. It's a new dawn. We provide portable power, solar generators, and power stations. We harness the sun. Goal Zero keeps your gear charged and ready. A safe, reliable backup. Jackery, when active lifestyles require outdoor power solutions. Power for whatever you do, wherever you go. Light years ahead, keeping Hawaii charged up and using the Force Battery Bill.
Niu Health is reinventing urgent care in Hawaii with 24/7 same-day telehealth and in-person appointments. Get peace of mind with 1 year of unlimited visits for $96. That's less than $10 a month. And the price is the same with or without insurance. Learn how we keep costs low and how Niu can work for you. Niu Health, urgent care, and more.
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Inspire You and Me. I'm going to leave you with a rich thought for the day. Do you know anyone who has an inspiring story? Or do you have an inspiring story to tell? We'd like you to join us and come to our website at inspireyouandme.tv. We'd love to hear from you. Until we meet again, I'm Jessica Lonnie Rich. Take care.
My, it's a beautiful world. I like surfing Waikiki. I like to paddle out beyond the white breakers, where a man can still be free, or a woman if you are one. Yes, I do like surfing Waikiki. My, it's a beautiful world. My, it's a beautiful world. Oh, my, it's a beautiful world. My, it's a beautiful world.
The hardest thing in life is letting go of a loved one. Finding the right provider can be essential in your time of need. Celebrate your loved one with Ballard Family Mortuaries. We offer a full range of cremation and burial services on Oahu, Maui, Hilo, and Kona with professional guidance and specialized attention you can trust at the most affordable cost. Call us today for a free consultation on funeral service options available to you and your family. Ballard Family Mortuary Group, serving Hawaii since 1997.